Super Bowl champs, Saquon, Jahan, and Tariq.
Yep.
Castro Fields all got their rings, which is awesome. Yeah, Black Magic wasn't working.
Hunter Norzad played on the Chiefs, so he at least played.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, the Chiefs O-line did horribly. It'd be interesting to see if Hunter could have done anything, but if he's not playing in front of that horrible line, then he probably wouldn't have done much better. But, yeah, they just totally dominated. And I said that, man. I said that the game's going to come down to that Eagles D-line because they were so good, and they just freaking annihilated Mahomes. So, yeah, it's yeah, just an interesting thing. They're having three guys from Penn State. And I also saw a thing where they all have their degrees, which is awesome. Already. I think Chaz Powell, for example, he didn't get his degree until like 2022 or something, and he left for the NFL in 2011. Well, I should say he graduated, like he left because he had his 4-year max. Dude, at that point, man, if you're like a 4 or 5 year guy, you should definitely be out 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so he was a 4-year guy. Like, you should definitely be out with your degree after 4 years. That's kind of crazy if you're there for 4 years, which means you're probably not good enough to leave early and you still don't have your degree. Not a criticism, but I'm just saying, like, you should probably already have your degree. He did not.
Yeah.
Saquon, I think he got his degree. He didn't get it. He didn't get it until later.
He finished it later. Yeah, he like a little bit later.
But yeah, so the hockey team, they just beat number 1 as well.
They're on a roll, man.
Penn State Threads. Yeah, man, they look like they could really
make a run.
Yeah,
they play
like,
number 1 again
be legit.
Tonight. Yep.
Penn State Threads, they've been posting some stuff too. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Thon. I do hope that all of that money actually goes where it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Brett, you have anything to say about Thon?
Huh?
You have anything to say about him? About Thon?
I mean, it's one of the greatest fundraisers, man, for cancer, and you gotta appreciate it. And I think they're doing the right thing, and they put a lot of work into it, and the students and the people involved. Like, hats off to you, man, because that's a long, rough weekend and exhausting. You know, just staying up, dancing, and they had the fray there.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is, but
you would know a couple. They had a couple not bangers, but a couple popular songs back in like the 2000s that you would if you heard it, you would know what it is.
And again, I say I'm not the biggest fan for personal reasons. Like, I've just some stories from people that I know personally that it didn't work out for them, and I hope that all that hard work does ultimately turn into, and it does help a lot of people, man.
It does.
I've just seen it also not help some people, but overall, like you said, all the hard work that goes into it, it's a lot of Greek life too, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but that is a majority of the Penn State population is Greek life. So people are doing it. The people that are doing it for the right reasons are doing it for the right reasons. So, and then Penn State stuns number 1 Michigan State.
Loses. Reese Laback. Wired one late in the second period. Here he is again. He scores! And Penn State wins in the shootout.
The worst goalie I've
What
ever
a night
seen.
for Reese Laback.
He didn't even have to do it. That was bad. To be on the number 1 team and just shit the bed like that, dude.
And the crowd here inside Munn Ice Arena.
Those are the ugliest Michigan State uniforms I've ever seen. Those are horrid. Like the color green they got was terrible, dude.
Someone said worst commentary ever. Laubach and Link on a generational run. We are so back. Yeah. So
While you're on Instagram, if you want to, like, if you do want to talk recruiting, there's some big visits that were assigned that Penn State Rivals posted, for a couple guys.
What say that again?
Penn State Rivals, their Instagram page, they posted a couple different guys that set up visits for this summer with Penn State. A couple big recruits. So 5-star offensive lineman, 4-star linebacker. Let's see here.
I'm gonna pull up the playoff thing real quick, and then we'll jump into the recruiting. Yeah. All right, so pretty much, Brett, explain this. What's going on?
So, from my understanding, Josh Pate talked about it, and it's heading in a much better direction than it is right now. Obviously, it worked out for Penn State last year because of the seeding, but the way there was so much talk about who's going to be in and who's not going to be in, we're not going to have to deal with that in 2026 because the SEC and the Big Ten are taking the playoff. They're doing what they want with it. Like, we're in charge. Big Ten and SEC are going to be in charge because they are the two best conferences by a mile. It's not remotely close. So the rankings of the SEC, the top 4 SEC teams by the end of the year, they will get into the playoff. The top 4 Big Ten teams in the rankings, like Big Ten wins and losses, like it doesn't even matter what your actual record is, really. But regardless, if you're in the top 4 of one of those conferences, your record is going to be pretty good, let's be honest. So the top 4 from each conference will get an automatic bid to the playoff. And after that, it goes down to probably the highest. I didn't look as much into it for like the Big 12 and the ACC, but like the top team or two from those conferences should be able to get in. And then once they're all ranked, there's not going to be who gets this seed. It's just they're going to be ranked, and then who's going to play who. It's going to be so much. It's going to be simplified. You know what I mean? It's going to be simplified. It's going to work out better. Nobody's going to get screwed really because your record's your record, and if you're in the top 4, you're there for Big Ten. So, and then the best part about it too is because of that, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to have a contract to play non-conference games with each other moving forward. So, 2026 I think it's a 3 or 4 year contract for this new playoff. So 2026 to like 2030 it might be for the way that playoff system is set up. So it's going to be the same for a couple years until they think about something else. But let's say Penn State plays LSU or Texas or teams we never play. Like, that would be cool, right? Because other than waiting to the playoff to see one of those games happen, you could see it in the regular season, and the views will go up. The fun of watching football will go up, and you won't have to worry about losing that game because it won't affect you. How cool is that? Think about it. It won't affect you because it's a non-conference game.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool. That's all I know right now about it.
Yeah. Like, if you want to expand it, that's fine. But again, I don't think there should be any bye weeks, or it should be seeded the top 16, 12, 14, whatever. Like, the worst team plays the best team. Like, that's it. Yeah. It should truly be laid out that way. And I know they really can't do away without the bye weeks, but I would like them to do away with that because every bye week team lost this year.
Yeah.
And I think it hurts them. I mean, Oregon, the only reason they lost because Ohio State got out to a quick lead. That's it. I mean, Notre Dame, Oregon, Tennessee, you guys all let America down. Nobody wanted to see Ohio State win at all. And I guess they did. So, it needs improvement for sure. So pretty much the SEC and Big Ten will have more people in it, pretty much based off what this news is.
Automatically. Yeah. And that'll be 14 to 16 teams. I don't know which one yet, but right now it's 12. So this year it's the last year of 12. and then they'll go to 14 to 16, which isn't going to change much. That's like an extra game for. No, it wouldn't change anything really for us. But yeah, I don't know all that you'd have. It's a long read to read all of it, but overall, I think it's a much better system than what we have right now for the 12-team playoff. It's great, it's fun, but the way it's set up for 2026, I think is just more ideal. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, based off what I'm seeing, it sounds like the non-conference games will not hurt you.
They won't hurt you.
It's going to be based on conference.
Yep.
And so
that's the biggest difference, and it makes perfect sense. It's actually great.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you had like Boise State and Arizona State at 3 and 4. I mean, that's ridiculous. That should not happen.
Yep. It'll never happen again. It won't.
Well, this is in 2026, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it could happen this year technically, but I don't see that. I don't see those teams making their way back. Maybe Arizona State, Boise State, they're losing generational running back, so they're not going to be back.
So we're in favor of going to a straight seeding where there's no difference between rankings and seeding like we had this year. Yep. But the only thing is, man, with the seeding, like that's another aspect. Like if you have like a Kirk Herbstreit and other morons being like, oh, well, Ohio State should be 1 and Penn State should be 15. Like teams are going to get screwed over because then it comes down to the rankings.
Yeah.
Which could, again, screw a lot of teams over. But, yeah, I think it should be just based on seeding. Sounds like it's just going to be conference play, which I'm okay with that. Kind of. I'd also like it to be like the best records. But, you know, what they're trying to avoid there, I think, is like if a Texas plays like Alabama State and Alabama plays like Alcorn State or whatever, I don't think they can play them. But it's just, you know, like they're playing like these teams that they're going to obviously beat the living crap out of. And they're like, oh, they're 2-0. It's like, yeah, but who did they play, man? Like,
yeah,
they played like, you know, freaking high school teams, basically. All right, so you're sending me this stuff.
I'm
so
sending
we'll get
you
into
the recruiting. What? Yep.
Yeah, so we'll get into the recruiting here.
Some pretty big names.
So, Brett, what do we got here? In terms of
still pulling these
like
up.
what's your recruiting news, recruiting update?
So February is the dead period. So right now there's not like a lot of commits happening right now anywhere. But right now Penn State's scheduling official visits for this summer because the summer is where it pops off. So you already know we're going to get good cornerbacks. We got Terry Smith. So Giselle Hart, he scheduled visits for Virginia Tech, Penn State, Michigan. That looks like that's going to come down to Penn State, Michigan. Let's be honest here. Virginia Tech had a decent year, but they're not on the same level. Wait, there's a couple more guys.
And this is the 26 class?
These are for 2026. 1 second. Here's another one. A couple offensive linemen.
Isaiah Williams.
Yep, he's a big recruit. All-American game he was in. High 4-star. And then Carter Shrugs. That's funny because I wonder if he's related to the Shrugs that we had. I'll just send this to you now. He's a Virginia offensive lineman. And this is my favorite one I'm sending you now. Emmanuel Inhancho. I don't know how to say his name. You'll see it in a second. 5-star offensive lineman. He's scheduled a visit with us for June 13th. Look at that guy. Look at him. So we're getting we're getting the recruits on campus, man, and it's going to be.
Hey, man, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like some of these recruits we got, like the Egan Boyer, Garrett Sexton guys that are like 6'7", 6'8". This guy, we just talked about him. The guy that got hurt, lineman this year.
The lineman. Anthony Donko.
Yeah, like
huge.
Bro, like what? How does that happen, man? Like, what is like your mothers are great cooks. I just gotta say,
right.
Like Drew Aller, dude. Like what? That guy is he's a house. Like he's huge.
Yeah, he's big.
Like what in God? How does that happen, man? How do you get that large in high school? Like this dude is freaking huge.
And this dude's like 16 or maybe 17.
I said, man, like Penn State needs to like get all these mothers and like start a cookbook, call it the 2026 class cookbook, and just be like, all right, all you mothers come together and put a cookbook together so we all know.
Caden Hall's the number 2 safety in the class, man.
Yeah, Caden Hall. Yeah, there's Coach 2026 Ben Cogden
from Ohio. You know he's tall because Troutwine's tall. He was an offensive lineman. He has a natty, so
yeah, and Troutwine was on
the Florida Gators
line. Which is funny, he lost a lot of weight.
Oh yeah.
That's like Mark. I don't like Mark Schlereth, but that's like Mark Schlereth, dude. You see him now, he lost a lot of weight, but man, like he was a freaking balloon when he played. He was
a tank
to the max, bro. Like just puffed up.
Yep.
So yeah, good. Some good guys are going after there. I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah.
I think Jason Comenda retired, right?
Yeah, he retired. He was on the Lions. He was a fullback, dude. Actually, he went from a linebacker on the Raiders for a little bit. He was on the Raiders, and then he went to the Lions, and he was a fullback. So
this is from his time at Penn State, right there.
No.
I mean, dude, he's a freaking he was good, man. Really good.
Great.
Nice guy. Like I said, I knew him.
Nice guy.
Just a freak. Walter Payton Man of the Year. That's huge accomplishment. There's Adrian Peterson. I mean, look how big he is, dude. Like, good God. But yeah, like M-Rob, was a different position and went on to play fullback in the NFL. Joe said that M-Rob would be a fullback in the NFL. Looks like he's a captain there. Yeah, just a good character guy, man.
Yeah,
and from what I remember, he didn't come from like the most fortunate background, so good for him.
Look at his traps, dude.
Oh, I know.
See his traps? Yeah. Insane.
I think he's playing volleyball. But yeah, so I could tell you some funny stories about him, man. Good guy. So I think, like I said, Brett, I think that's it. Javon Thomas, he was talking about on a podcast how he did a bunch of charity work. What was this thing you sent me about Nate Bauer? What was that? Yeah, Penn State needs to play the transfer portal game.
Yep.
Consistently about how, against the rules it is for these guys who already know where they're going before they enter the transfer portal. Penn State needs to do that. That's just the reality is whatever form it takes, right? Guy who knows the mom, right? Whatever, however the back channeling needs to happen with a number that is over and above. I think there is an element of truth. I'm being a little bit flippant, but I'm just saying, making something happen where Penn State in the past has been reticent to upend the room, to disrupt the room, right? In terms of the hierarchy, and you don't want to shake things up to the point where other guys get upset. Like they're past that. They're past that. But James Franklin talked.
Yeah, they've definitely been shaking things up in the offseason. Like I said, Matt from Penn State Jerseys was on here. He said they're going to get 2 all-conference receivers in the spring portal. So, like that meteor is going to – so it went from 0.08% to 3% chance of hitting Earth. I think even if it does, it's not going to cause a lot of damage. But, like, I think we have a better shot of that hitting Earth than we do of getting 2 all-conference receivers in the portal.
The problem is not like Penn State tries to get those type of players. They try, but
they just don't have the money, man.
either they don't have the money or they're not willing to put up the money for that. But
they're also, what you need to do, like I said, Notre Dame, put money into coaching, not into the players. Put money into coaching. That's what you need. You need good coaching. You have a good head coach.
Which is what we
Marcus
did.
Freeman he's the man. He's just, I'm a big Marcus Freeman guy. He's very young. He's like almost our age.
Yeah, he's like 37.
Just like, dude, he's the man. And they need to put money into coaching at Notre Dame, and that's what Penn State is doing. They put money into coaching. They got the D coordinator. They got Coach Strayton. Jim Knowles. You got to put money into coaching and develop these guys. While Franklin, his resume speaks for itself in terms of development. I just don't know what it is about him on game day, man. Because, like, what sucks, dude? All right. Like, Orange Bowl didn't have receivers, but we had, like, the best tight end in football. We had 2 great running backs. We had a stacked O-line. Run blocking was good. And then, like, Micah Parsons, a Saquon, a Tyler Warren, they're going to go on and have good NFL careers.
Yeah.
But we can't win a national title. Like, that's so frustrating. So his resume speaks for itself, but it's like, damn it, dude. Like, we need to win, like, a national title. We need to beat Ohio State, Oregon. And we got Michigan coming back. So
some of it's luck too, man. He doesn't get lucky either.
Yeah.
His game day coaching last year, we even talked about it. His game day coaching last year, there was nothing really wrong with it. He improved. Yeah.
He progressed. Allers progressed.
Cam Miller slipping on that play, that's a touchdown. Like, it's an honest mistake, and it's unlucky that happened. If that doesn't happen, we win the game.
And I don't know if Notre Dame did that on purpose to make him slip. It seemed a bit scheme.
They did the motion for AJ Harris to move back.
But like, as a Penn State team, you got to kind of like expect that in a way. But and like, I forget who was in motion on that, but like, you got to like anticipate, like, this guy needs room. Like, Cam Wallace needs some room here. But yeah, man, it does come down to luck. It really does. Ohio State got lucky this year. I just think they're so corny, man. I think Ryan Day is corny. Like, Ohio versus the world. Like, what are you, starting your own army or what? What are you talking about, dude? Ohio State is one of the most babied teams in college football. Like, they get everything. Like, they're like the Chiefs. So yeah. Anyway, so all right, Brett. I think we're good on this. Yeah. I don't think there's really anything.
Well, I was going to say, basketball team finally won the other night, and they have a chance to win right now. They're down 7 with 3 minutes, or they're up 7 with 3 minutes to go. They better not crap the bed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Basketball show with Tyler Smith. Check that out.
Yep.
Interview with Brett. When are you coming on to that, dude?
Basketball?
Yeah.
When do you do it a certain day?
Usually Saturday. If you would want to do like 2 episodes in one day, it's just recorded. We usually don't do it live.
Oh, okay.
But,
yeah, I'm down.
But yeah, I'll have to keep. Yeah, we pretty much started but here's the thing: March Madness is coming up, so we can, like, you want to talk about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I love March Madness, man. I don't like basketball, like, really at all, but I like Penn State basketball because they're my team. North Carolina is another team I like because they're like my winning team, if you will. Successful team, like the Pirates. The Red Sox are my winning team, but I'm a Pirates fan. And I like the Red Sox because I hate the Yankees because they have a ton of money, pretty much. Yep. And at Duke, I just hate Duke, so I like North Carolina, Michael Jordan, all that. That's not even close. But yeah, check out my show with Tyler Smith, Penn State basketball. My interview with freaking AJ Wallace. The man, what a guy, what a player. Did the Super Bowl preview with Anthony Howard of Free Dog Sports. That's got some language in it, so keep that in mind. Had Penn State jerseys on. Have Jared on. Jared's starting a Pirates show. I think tomorrow is when he's starting it. He's just going to do it himself. He's going to have guests on. So check that out. I know there's a lot of diehard Pirates fans out there. Jared knows the Pirates like the back of his hand. I mean, he knows. If you know anything about Jared, you watching this show, you know he talks a lot. Not in a bad way, but he talks a lot, man. Yep. And if you get him on like Mike Tomlin or the Pirates, you're going to be standing there for a while. So I remember when I first pulled Jared on here, I'm like, because he was always posting on Facebook, and he's a theater guy too. So he was a good theater guy. Like he's he's artistic like that. He like was always singing and stuff, but he always put like Steelers and Pirate stuff on. I'm like, yo, man, you want to come on and talk about this? And so for a guy like that who likes to talk, obviously you have him on a podcast. And then Pirates, he loves the Pirates are like his number one thing. He loves the Pirates. So he's going to start a show on here. So, yeah, man. Keep an eye out for that meteor too. Shout out to the meteor. Try not to hit us. But I like I said, I heard if it does, it's where it's going to land. It's not going to cause really much damage, I guess.
I commented and said, please just hit us.
Well, we
need
to win it. We need to win a national title first, Penn State. Steelers need to win a Super Bowl. Pirates need to win a World
2030
Series.
or something when it's supposed to come.
You know what's going to happen? It's going to hit Earth right before the Pirates go to the World Series or something. Like
2032 is what it says.
Yeah.
I said, please just hit us, and 937 people liked it.
Well, if the election went the other way, then I'd be like,
just end it.
Please end this misery right now. We got this person.